What's going on, guys, and welcome to another Doctor Who classic review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 7th Doctor Sylvester McCoy story, Dragonfire. This is the final episode of season 24. I haven't seen it before, this is my first time seeing it, so I was very interested to see what it was like. Now before I get started, you can probably tell with my voice that I am a little bit sick at the moment. I'm actually just kind of getting over it now. It's just starting to get a bit better, but you can probably hear, I can tell with my voice right now that it still isn't 100%. I've been sick since like Tuesday night, really more Wednesday where it really started. It's now Sunday and I'm still a little sick. I am getting over it, but the reason why this video is 1 or 2 days late is because of that. By the way, I've also made a Twitter account for this YouTube channel. Go onto Twitter, it's if you type up TGL Media 458, that is my kind of username. You'll be able to find it there, same profile picture as this YouTube channel and everything. So if you want to keep up to date with the Doctor Who stuff and just stuff going on this channel, please do go follow me on Twitter, link will be in the description. But anyway, this is Dragonfire by Ian Briggs. At the Iceworld space trading colony of Svartos, the Doctor and Mel unexpectedly encounter an old friend. The penniless and desperate Sabalom Glitz has only one option to leave Svartos, to find the fabled Dragonfire treasure concealed somewhere in the depths of the planet. Joined by Ace, a teenage waitress with a love for explosives, the group venture off to uncover lost riches, not knowing that Kane, Iceworld's ruthlessly intimidating overlord, will gladly murder them all to gain possession of the Dragonfire himself. Before long, the Doctor finds himself playing a deadly game of cat and mouse with Kane's mercenaries, descending through the ice caverns ever closer to the deadly gaze of the monstrous dragon that lurks below. So that's the back of the DVD for Dragonfire. A pretty long kind of little plot there. This is actually only a 3-part story, which I'm guessing was something that was fairly common in Sylvester McCoy's era, because this and the Happiness Patrol, which is these two stories, both come in the Ace Adventures box set for Region 2 DVDs. They're both 3-part stories from what I remember. So I haven't actually seen the Happiness Patrol yet. We'll get to that eventually, but yeah, a 3-part story, so something a little bit different. Anyway, let's start off with the cast. So Sylvester McCoy as the 7th Doctor, he's pretty good. I mean, I will be honest, the 7th Doctor's not one of my favourite Doctors. When I did my Doctor ranking, he was, I think, out of what I counted as 12 Doctors, I think, at the time, he was in, like, 9th, I think, 8th or 9th. I don't mind Sylvester McCoy's Doctor. He's not as good in series 4 is definitely his worst season, I think, because he's just a bit too silly and crazy in this one. He kind of gets a bit more mature in series 25, and then season 26 he's definitely at his best. So here he's not the best. I've only seen 2 stories from this season, but so far. But yeah, Sylvester McCoy, he's good in this, but not one of my favourite Doctors. However, yeah, I still think he's very, very good. You've got Bonnie Langford as Mel, who, let's be honest, is not a good companion. Who likes Mel? I mean, this is only the 2nd time I've ever seen Mel. I've seen Delta and the Bannerman. That's the only time I've ever seen her before this, but I can't really remember that story because I haven't watched it in quite a while and I don't have the DVD yet. But yeah, Mel, we'll get onto some stuff with her later. But really, she's just a screamy, horrible companion. One of those companions that just screams all the time and that's her only function. And literally with this companion, I mean, at least Susan had a bit more to do. But, you know, she was a bit of a screamy companion, but Mel is purely just a screamy companion. I'm pretty sure she actually said in an interview at one point that she was cast purely because she had a really good scream. And that's the reason. And I don't like it. Her screams are just way over the top. And of course there are a few of them in this story, because with Mel in the story, when would there not be? But yeah, so that's that. And then we have Sophie Aldred as Ace, making her debut. This is Ace's first story. Ace is a really good character. I really like her in this. I've seen quite a bit more of her than I have of Mel in Sylvester McCoy's run, and yeah, I really do like her. She's very much a modern series companion. She has a lot more character development to her. You know, we get to know a lot about her in this story, to be honest, apart from her family, which we don't really get to know about throughout the whole series, really. But you know, she likes explosions, she's pretty badass, and she's just something a bit more interesting and exciting than Mel. So yeah, Ace, Sophie Aldred playing Ace, really good. Alright, so let's get into the good and the bad. Start off with the good. Ace is great. I mean, that's the first thing I wrote down for this. She's just really, really good. I really like her as a character. Of course, like I said, I haven't seen this story before, so, you know, having the introduction to her I thought was really good. How, you know, she's working in kind of this cafe sort of thing on this planet, where she's actually from Earth, but she's working on this planet in this cafe. I just think that's a quite interesting little thing, having a human on this planet. It kind of bridges you around a bit, you know, bridges people to Ace. I don't know, you know, I think she's just really, really good at that. Also with Ace, she has some good backstory. I can't exactly remember, it's a couple of days since I've watched this now, but because I didn't write the specifics down, but she has a couple of moments where she's talking to Mel, and just the way she's speaking and what she's talking about, I think it was about, you know, living in Perryvale and all that sort of stuff, and, you know, how she really liked explosions, and she was doing a, oh, what was she doing? Some kind of chemistry A-level sort of thing. So I thought that was pretty cool. You know, we got a decent amount of backstory for her, which we didn't get much of in Classic Who with Companions, so yeah, really, really good on that front. It's quite interesting how Kane can only survive in freezing temperatures. I thought that was pretty cool, you know. All his kind of soldiers and mercenaries, they were just kind of normal people, but him, he had to be in these freezing temperatures. Now, I don't 100% understand why. I'm not 100% sure if that was really kind of clarified, but because, you know, from what I can tell, he's just a human, right? But I don't know, maybe that was clarified and I just didn't pick it up. But I thought it was pretty cool, a nice little thing, how he had to, you know, keep going into that kind of freeze chamber thing to make sure he was cold all the time. You know, when the temperature was going up, he had to make sure it went back down again, or else he would die, he would melt. So yeah, I thought that was just a nice little addition, having him do that. It's pretty cool how the whole colony is a ship. Turns out that the whole entire colony on Iceworld is actually a big ship. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, maybe a little bit cliche nowadays, but I don't know, I thought it was a pretty interesting little thing. Kane melting was pretty disturbing. That was pretty damn disturbing. It reminded me of is it Raiders of the Lost Ark? It's one of the Indiana Jones films where that guy melts. I'm fairly sure there's another moment similar to that in another episode of Doctor Who, isn't there? I'm pretty sure there is. But yeah, that was actually, you know, for the time, 1987, pretty damn good effect, I thought. I thought he melted fairly interestingly. It definitely looked pretty damn horrific and disturbing, so yeah, nothing really to complain about there. And then finally, the Doctor's speech about time, you know, when Mel is about to leave the TARDIS. I will be honest, I think he's a little bit rude. I think the Doctor's a little bit rude in the way that, you know, Mel's like, oh, I think, you know, time's up, I'm gonna go now. He's a bit rude, he's just like, oh, he's just kind of ignoring her. Then he goes on about, oh, time for this, time for that, oh, all this about time. I thought that speech was actually really good. I did think, though, that he was a little bit rude with the way that he kind of let Mel go. He was a bit of a dick about that, but I mean, yeah, the whole time speech was very, very interesting. So, into the bad stuff. Mel screaming as usual. Yep. Like I said, I've only ever seen Dragonfire and Delta of the Bannerman with Mel in it. I mean, she's only in 6 stories, 5 if you count Trial of the Time Lord as 1. But you know, yeah, from what I can tell, from what I've heard and from what I've seen so far, Mel just screams all the time, and it's the most annoying scream. Yeah, it's a bloody good scream, but it's an annoying as hell scream, and she does it a couple of times in this. And it just really, really rings your ears and annoys you. So, yeah, I don't like it. There's a scream, and then there's that, which just absolutely explodes your eardrums. It's quite ridiculous, to be honest. So that's not great. Part 1's literal cliffhanger. What was going on there? What? I mean, it's renowned as being the weirdest cliffhanger in Doctor Who. Apparently, I think I did hear in a documentary or something, in an interview, that there was supposed to be an explanation as to why the Doctor was climbing over the edge of the cliff, but they cut it for some reason. So instead, we just kind of randomly cut to the Doctor just climbing over the edge of this cliff, and then just, you know, on his own will, just climbing. You know, nothing's chasing him or anything from what we can tell. He just decides to climb over this cliff, and the cliffhanger is literally him like, oh shit, I'm falling. But it just doesn't make sense. If there was some context behind why he was doing that, then it would make sense, but there's no context at all. He just literally starts climbing off a cliff, then is about to fall, and then the cliffhanger is him making a silly face. It's like, what? What What was he doing? What was the explanation behind him going off that cliff? I really don't understand. So that's a bit stupid. Also on the cliff thing, how did Glitz get down to save the Doctor? Another thing that I don't really understand, and because it wasn't, once again, maybe there's probably an explanation that I can think of. There was obviously a way down to the kind of cliff underneath, you know, like the edge of the cliff that was underneath the Doctor. Yeah, there was probably a way down to him, but the fact that the Doctor, you know, went to go climb off the cliff in the way that he did, and then, you know, Glitz just turns up underneath him, like, oh, here you go, and it turns out it's not actually that high anyway. I mean, if the Doctor just fell onto that lip at the bottom of the cliff, he would have probably survived, no worries. It was only like, what, maybe 2.5 meters tall? It wasn't that tall. So that was a bit silly. Yeah, and then when Ace and Mel go down the cliff as well, they have to climb down. So, I don't understand. The cliff was a very strange thing. The Dragonfire looks pretty ridiculous. I will be honest, once it was kind of revealed that it's kind of more of this kind of robotic thing, you know, with this head with a crystal in it, I kind of thought, okay, maybe it maybe justifies its look a bit more, but I still think it looks a bit ridiculous. It's kind of like a giant insect thing. Don't know where it gets dragon from. It doesn't look anything like a dragon. It looks more like a giant grasshopper or something. So yeah, it's not great. Also, is Ace 16 or 18? She states at one point that she's 18. However, weirdly enough, before she says 18, she says 18, and then later on she says that she's 16, and then I think she says that she's 18 again. So it's like, oh, okay, so how old are you? Okay, I don't know. And then Mel just kind of randomly leaves. Yeah, with Mel leaving, I don't understand why she left. She just said, oh, I feel like I'm just gonna leave, and she just leaves. And it's like, okay, so you're just gonna leave like that, are you? She's not even, she just decides, I think she decides to like stay with Glitz or something, doesn't she? Or does she go back to Perryvale? I honestly can't remember. I really don't know. Mel just kind of leaves randomly. There's no real explanation behind it. It's just like, I just feel like I'm gonna leave now. So in a way, I can actually understand why the Doctor was kind of rude, because she just kind of left with no explanation. She's just like, oh yeah, I'm going, bye. Okay, fair enough. So that was a bit weird as well. So, Dragonfire, what do I think of it? Well, it wasn't terrible, but it also wasn't very good. You know, a lot of issues with it. Considering it's a 3-parter, I think it actually has quite a lot of padding in it, which, you know, is not good for a 3-part story. And altogether, there's just some things in it that really, really bug me. So out of 10, I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. I don't think it's the worst story I've reviewed so far. It's the worst Sylvester McCoy story I've reviewed so far. However, I'm sure there'll be more bad ones to come. But yeah, not amazing. 5.5 out of 10. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video.